All right, guys, welcome in. Hey, odd show today. Odd show today. We've got a Tuesday show. We don't usually go live on Tuesday. And I got to let a little cat out of the bag. Couple things first. If the sound is popping, clicking, whatever, let me know. I've done a little sound testing and tried to make it louder for those of you who insist on complaining about the sound every single day. And so I'm going to address that, try to tune it in, try to get the settings exactly right. But if it's clicking. Okay. But he doesn't care. Well, I care. So I'm gonna fix it. And you're just gonna have to turn your volume up a little bit. So there we go. Let's see if it clicks now. There. If it still clicks, let me know. Okay. I have to let you in on a little secret. I am going to change the English language just a little bit today. I'm going to change the English language just a hair. It popped when you said poppy. All right, I'm going to quit reading. Sounds great. Today, there's a word to describe when political figures are neutralized. And it says it's a crooked letter, a crooked letter, a nation. A nation. I am going to try to avoid that word at all cost because I've been told that the algorithms don't particularly care for that word. And so I'm going to withdraw that, particularly from my opening, but at least for the first few minutes. So I've got a monologue. I'm going to go through it. I don't plan on being here for hours and hours and hours today, trying to do a little shorter show. I'm not sure how tomorrow's going to go. I normally do a live show on Wednesday. I might still do a live show on Wednesday, but I had something I wanted to get off my chest, and on the off chance I cannot do a live show tomorrow, I wanted to be able to do the show today. So let me get through the opening, and then we can cover a couple of stories that I've really been wanting to get to since Sunday, really, or Saturday. And then we will we'll plow through the rest of the day and see what it looks like. All right, if you look at the list of Wikipedia successful neutralizations, there's your word, political neutralizations by the United States government, you'll notice something almost immediately jump off the screen. The only two items listed before the 21st century are Japanese Commander Isoroku Yamamoto in 1943 and an assortment of Viet Cong operatives between 1966 and 1972. Both sets of neutralizations occurred during the wars between the United States and those respective countries. This list is, of course, laughably nonsensical. It's as laughably nonsensical as it is incomplete. Consider, for example, the United States Church Committee and the House Pike Committees. These took place during 1975, 1976. Each of whom investigated political neutralizations planned, attempted, and carried out by the United States government, including by the CIA and offices of the president. Both committees concluded the U.S. government was deeply involved in the business of neutralizing political civilians and military personnel around the world. So damaging were their conclusions that President Gerald Ford issued an executive order, Executive Order 11905 in February of 1976, explicitly outlawing any United States government employee from engaging in or conspiring to engage in political neutralizations. Ford's executive order left open two obvious loopholes. First, it only applied to U.S. government employees. It did not apply to contractors. It didn't cover anyone else in the world from engaging in or conspiring to engage in political neutralizations on behalf of the United States. Second, it only applied to political neutralizations. It didn't blanketly outlaw neutralizations in general. Ronald Reagan tried to close those two loopholes in December of 1981. His executive order, number 12333, prohibited government employees or anyone acting on behalf of the government from engaging in or conspiring to engage in neutralizations. All neutralizations, not just political ones. From what I can tell, Ronald Reagan's executive order has not been rescinded, and it remains the official position of the United States government relative to government involvement in neutralizations. I think at this point it's important to take a giant step back and look at how unbelievably ludicrous it is that such executive orders were or are needed at all. The fact that the first executive order was necessary at all means that President Ford was aware of, or at least concerned by, the desires of the United States federal government to neutralize political figures. The fact that President Reagan felt compelled to expand the prohibition 5 years later by closing those two loopholes means that bloodthirsty desires of the federal government to neutralize political figures had not been extinguished. Whether or not the United States has continued to engage in neutralizing civilian and political leaders at home and around the world is ultimately unclear. Because such activities are now blatantly illegal under the Ford and Reagan executive orders, the government is either no longer engaging in them or taking great care to keep them hidden if they do. What is clear, however, is that other countries either have no such legal framework prohibiting neutralizations, or if they do, they blatantly disregard the law. This includes two countries, France and Israel, named this week by Candace Owens in an alleged plot to assassinate her. Oh, I said the word. Sorry, guys, I meant neutralizer. In fact, the Wikipedia entry for the list of known neutralizations by the Israeli government is so voluminous, it is organized by decade. It lists well over 100 unique individuals neutralized in 14 different countries, including 7 European countries and 2 in South America. News of headlines of official French operations to neutralize political figures have been circulated over the last several days. I've counted, for example, 4 distinct operations to neutralize people that have made the headlines in just the last few years alone. These last 2 points are the key to understanding the grave fear Candace Owens has of being neutralized by a stealth squad made up of members from France and Israel. In the last episode of this program, I urged the United States federal government to both investigate her claims and keep her safe. Tonight, I go one step further. It's clear the executive orders by Presidents Ford and Reagan on the topic of government-sponsored neutralizations are insufficient. They're insufficient because they only prohibit engaging in or conspiring to engage in neutralizations, that is, limited to Americans. They do nothing to protect American citizens from plans to neutralize them by outsiders. It's therefore incumbent on the United States government, whether by congressional action or presidential executive order, to enshrine in law a plan to protect American citizens from being neutralized by foreign governments, particularly foreign governments. As such, an action amounts to an act of war. Of course, you can't bog down government from chasing down alleged neutralization plots from every schizophrenic or otherwise paranoid person in America. So I propose a 4-step test to determine when the United States government must take concrete and measured steps to protect and investigate the claims of an alleged plot to neutralize an American citizen. Step 1. Is the person a high-profile political or business figure? Step 2. Has that person used legally protected rights to say or do something that could anger a foreign government? Step 3. Does the foreign government that could have been angered by the legal actions of the American citizen have a documented history of neutralizing or attempting to neutralize political or business figures? And step 4. Does the person have verifiable information that could aid in determining whether the claims of an attempted neutralization have merit? If the answer to all 4 of these questions is yes, then the burden shifts to the United States federal government to protect at all costs the life of the person making the claims. The president or other public officials must use the full weight and power of the United States to take political, legal, or military action to stop the neutralization before it occurs and to hold those involved in the attempted or planned neutralization accountable by life imprisonment in an American prison or the death penalty. Nothing less will be sufficient. So let's run through these steps with Candace Owens. First, Candace Owens is a high-profile political figure. She has the #1 podcast in the world and often covers matters of political interest. She's been involved in politics and high-profile positions for at least the last 10 years. Second, Candace Owens has used her free speech rights guaranteed to her under the United States Constitution to say things that a reasonable person could conclude would anger the governments of, among other places, France and Israel. These things include aggressive coverage of the First Lady of France and fierce opposition to Israel's foreign and domestic military policy. Third, France and Israel have a documented history of neutralizing political opponents around the world, including recently. The headlines and numbers speak for themselves. Fourth, and finally, Candace Owens claims to have verifiable information in the form of the names of people involved and a list of bank transactions that are being used to facilitate her neutralization. Of course, President Trump, Attorney General Pam Bondi, FBI Director Kash Patel, or DNI Tulsi Gabbard are not required to have a statute, executive order, or some other law to investigate Candace's claims. They're free today to investigate her claims and take radical steps to ensure her safety. However, a statute or executive order would ensure the policy of the United States now and into the future will be to protect our citizens and ensure they are not neutralized for exercising their constitutional rights. Such a law also will set the tone for our supposed allies, that any plan or attempt on the life of an American citizen will be met with swift and immediate consequences, starting with life in prison and potentially including the death penalty. The United States must send a severe warning to the entire world that American citizens are not animals to be hunted. We are not big game. You don't get to come here and neutralize us because you don't like what we say. And if you begin to plan it, if you even begin the process of planning it, we will find out and you will be held accountable here in American courts. And before I turn to the meat of what Candace has said on X during the last few days, I want to turn to a popular poem written in the 1940s. Martin Niemöller was a critic of Nazi Germany and a victim of Nazi persecution. After the war, he went on a lecture tour and admitted to inaction or indifference to the fate of many Nazi victims. He wrote the famous poem, "First they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me." There's been no shortage of prominent conservatives banned from social media platforms over the last 5 to 10 years. You could probably name 10 to 15 off the top of your head, including the sitting president of the United States back in 2021, Donald J. Trump. One by one, they were silenced, and one by one, they largely were ignored by the cultured right. You know, the ones on the right that like getting invited to fancy parties and getting paid to tweet uniparty slop. But the poem, at least the point of the poem, to me is a good one. The ravenous appetite to condemn and eliminate opponents is never satisfied. It can only be defeated. And by sitting by and cheerleading the silencing of certain people you deem undesirable or condemning as crazy anyone with whom you disagree, you are ultimately ensuring your own eventual demise and sealing your own fate. With that, let's turn to what's been said over the past few days. I encourage you to speak up. It is absolutely critical at this time that we do not take any of this silently. You must speak up. If you don't have a podcast, get on Facebook, get on Twitter, get on YouTube, get on Instagram, get on TikTok, get anywhere. But you have to speak up. Now, I want to go to a few of the things she said here over the last couple of days, because to me, this is where it gets truly terrifying. This is where it gets absolutely devastating, particularly for her opponents. This was Candace Owens 2 days ago at 7:45 p.m. So this would have been, Sunday night? I've informed people in the federal government and the White House of the France and Israeli assassination plot, and am willing to provide full details, as well as the name of the assassins and international accounts in France and Canada through which money was exchanged. Now, here's why this is important to step 4 of my test. If you can provide verifiable receipts, you give the federal government something they can begin investigating. They're not starting from scratch. Hey, I've got particular bank accounts. I've got amounts. You want to go check and see if those amounts were transferred through those banks? Here are the names of the people doing the money transfers. Here are the names of the people involved in the plot. You're giving them something to go on. In other words, you're not doing what a lot of her critics are saying today. You're not doing that. A lot of her critics are saying, oh, she's just saying crazy stuff and then refusing to go on air. No, she's refusing to go on air probably for 2 reasons. One is it's a holiday week. She may be traveling. She may be having family to her home. But she also might be terrified right now. And she might not be in a condition where she can come to the camera and have a chat with us. And I think it's awfully, well, I'll get to that in a second. But this is step 4. I have the receipts. That's what she's saying. I have the receipts. Beyond that, I've shared more information with the public regarding the Brigitte story I was investigating. We talked about that Sunday night. This will all be available on my Instagram stories. We've read that. Thank you all for reaching out and praying for my family. So that's kind of the first thing that she says here. Hey, guys, oh, by the way, I'm not just crazy. I am willing to share with the federal government. She later comes through and says, I've confirmed that they received my information. Now, this is being twisted, and I think it's being twisted by people on purpose. It's being twisted because when she says confirmed receipt, what people are saying is, oh, clipping happens when you start to screen share, it's not the volume. Well, I will duly note it. What people are saying is, hold on, I'm going to try to fix something real fast. No, I'm not. Y'all just live with it. What she's saying is, I know for a fact they've opened the email. I know for a fact they've received the phone call. I know for a fact they're aware of my complaints. That's what she's saying. She's not saying they agree with me that there's a plot taking place. That's not what she's saying. She's not saying they agree with me. A plot is taking place. And the fact that people are trying to say that that is what she is saying, I think is, frankly, diabolical. I think they're doing it on purpose. They're trying to make her look crazy. Again, if they can make her look crazy, look what they did to Kanye, look what they did to several other people. If they can make her look crazy, then they can disregard everything she's saying at that point. I want to go to just an example of some of the treatment the media is giving her. This is a New York Post story. Keep in mind, the New York Post is basically the Jerusalem Times at this point. But the New York Post, Candace Owens roasted for claiming the Macrons hired an assassination squad to kill her. Bat doo-doo crazy. Well, guys, what if the Macrons hired an assassination team to kill her? That's what I don't understand about this. What are you supposed to do if it's true? This is why people don't want to get involved. This is why people are afraid to speak up. What are you supposed to do if it's true? Are we supposed to sit around and wait? What did Charlie do? Go back to Charlie Kirk. What did he do when he became convinced he was going to get shot? He did not want to end up in the New York Post. He didn't want to lose his job. He didn't want to lose his cush salary. He didn't want to lose his donors. He didn't want to lose his supporters. So what did he do? He didn't say anything publicly. He sat back, he kept it to himself, and he shared it with a few close friends. And you know what that got him? A hole in his neck. That's what it got him. A hole in his neck. Now, anyone who thinks that this is about about Brigitte's heat, there's no way in the world this is about Brigitte's heat. No way in the world. So that's the New York Post. So that's what the mainstream media is doing. This is another line of attack here on X. Candace Owens is now pulling the same trick she always pulls when she's asked for proof of her claims, by putting her show on hiatus. This is so she can make up more lies and create new allegations so she doesn't have any evidence for. Same playbook over and over and over. Again, what are you supposed to say? What are you supposed to do? You're supposed to name the people on Twitter? Oh, it's Pierre Monsieur. He's working with Adam Ginsburg, and they're going to take me out. Why is it that professional investigators don't name their people in public? You don't want them to know what you have. You don't want them to know how close you are. Why is she treated any differently than Kash Patel right now when he's talking about the Tyler Robinson investigation? Hey, there's not a lot we can tell you right now. This is what we believe happened, and we're investigating leads, and we're not going to tell you anything else right now. Why is she treated any differently? Why is she treated any differently than the district attorney of Utah County, who is not releasing anything? It's hilarious, the double standard, because on the one side, You get opponents of Candace Owens that says, well, they're not going to just release everything. TPUSA itself said, oh, we hear a lot of things. We know a lot of things, but we're not going to tell you because there's an ongoing investigation. Well, Candace Owens is saying, hey, I need an ongoing investigation, and I can't tell you everything. I can't share everything publicly, or the evidence might go away. I don't want them to know what I have, but I do know one thing. If I don't speak up, I'm not going to be here much longer. We have all got to speak up on this issue. Everyone that cares whether or not Americans are being hunted inside the United States of America need to speak up on this issue. It is incumbent that you speak up on this issue. And if you don't speak up, you might have a rehash of the late 1960s where there were multiple high-profile political neutralizations, including Martin Luther King, including John Kennedy, Robert F. Kennedy, Malcolm X, and others. That's not where we want to go. That's not where we want to go as a society. That's not who we want to be. But trying to paint her as nuts, to try to dismiss her and get her, I mean, this is the playbook. Say she's crazy and see if you can get her committed. How many times have you seen that play out over and over? Call her crazy and see if you can get her committed. She'll be real easy to get if she's committed. She has a right to be concerned. She has a right to be concerned. All right, let me pull. I'm looking for here it is. I think this is the best point she made all weekend. We cannot live in a world where governments collude to protect Jeffrey Epstein and to murder Charlie Kirk or Candace Owens. I'll add her to that mix. What a weird world we live in. Did anyone think this is the world we lived in when you were 8, 10, 12 years old? When you were in high school taking U.S. history? When you were studying about George Washington and Thomas Jefferson? Is this the country you think they founded? Do you think it would have been worth it? Do you think George Washington would have thought it was worth it? If he'd have known that one day our government might conspire with foreign governments to allow basically a safari to take place on American citizens on American soil? Yes, Mr. Washington, nice government you got there. You know, one day the French will come over here and it'll be like a hunting spree. It'll be great. Oh, well, let me get across the Delaware right away. That's not why he crossed the Delaware River in one of the most savage attacks in history on Christmas Day. That's not why he did it. That's not who we're supposed to be, is the point she's making. I didn't think I lived in a world where elite pedophiles get protection, but people exercising their free speech rights get hunted. That's not the country I intended to grow up in. That's not the country I intended to grow up in. And if you go back and you think about the long list of people who have been silenced or sidelined on the right, and if you add Candace Owens to that, how devastating does this list begin to be? I had a friend of mine contact me and say, I'm really surprised you're going all out defending Candace Owens. I didn't know you were such a fan. I said a couple of things. One is I'm a fan of how she's been since Charlie Kirk died in the face of all kinds of heat. And I am speaking up on that behalf because I support her in that. I wasn't a fan when she worked at Prager. I wasn't a fan when she worked at TPUSA because I wasn't a huge fan of those organizations. But I am a fan of the heat she's taken, the absolute blistering heat she's taken, and continued on in the face of it. I think it shows a lot of grit, determination, and guts. And I don't have to like everything everybody says. In order to be your friend, I don't have to like every word you say. I'm allowed, for example, to sit back and evaluate and say, I like this, I don't like that. But if you go down the list, Milo Yiannopoulos, July of 2016, banned from Twitter. He was banned from Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube back in May of 2019. I think he's still banned from them, although he has his X account back. Gavin McInnes, January 2019, banned from YouTube. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, November 2018. Alex Jones, YouTube, 2018. Facebook, Instagram, 2019. Twitter, September 2018. Paul Nealon, Laura Loomer, Paul Joseph Watson, Owen Benjamin, Steven Crowder, Donald J. Trump as the sitting president of the United States, Marjorie Taylor Greene as a member of Congress. Dan Bongino, who's now the deputy director of the FBI, was banned from YouTube, believe it or not, back in January of 2022. Steve Bannon banned from YouTube and Twitter at one point. Sebastian Gorka, LifeSite News, Nick Fuentes, Andrew Tate, Sneeko, Lauren Chen, Jackson Hinkle, and the list goes on and on and on. Do I like all of these people? No, not at all. Some of them I don't care for at all. Some of them I like, and I look and I think, I like their content. I don't agree with everything they say, but they entertain me. They inform me. But it's no doubt when these people get banned from these platforms, it devastates their brand. It devastates their reach. It devastates their ability to get their message out. There's no doubt about it. And if you can paint someone as crazy or dangerous, how much easier is it to get them banned? And that, I think, is what's going on with Candace Owens. They don't like the fact that she's the #1 podcast in the world, but they can't just take her off the air because it would be too obvious. So you're left with two choices. Get her deemed legally incompetent or try to force her husband's hand. Say, hey, honey, you got to get off the air. It's too damaging to our family brand. That's kind of option one. Option two is neutralize. Just get rid of her. We didn't like what Martin Luther King said, so we got rid of him. We didn't like what Malcolm X said, so we got rid of him. We didn't like what JFK said, so we got rid of him. We didn't like what RFK said. We got rid of him. I mean, that's an option. They tried to get rid of Ronald Reagan. It didn't work. They didn't like what John Lennon was saying, so they got rid of him. And some of these are not proven neutralizations, but they're strongly suspected, at least by me. But that's the idea. Imagine the difference in public opinion if these people, all of these people, still had the full reach that they were capable of having back in the day. Imagine what the public conversation would be like. I mean, you saw how they panicked when Nick Fuentes was on multiple YouTube channels over the last few weeks or the last couple of months. I don't like everything he says. I don't think he should be stopped from saying it. I had this conversation with Paramount Tactical the other day, or about Paramount Tactical. I don't like everything he says, but I don't think he should be prevented from saying it, even if I think it's wrong. It's just not something that should be taking place here in the United States. Now, I have one more item I want to get to before it's not going to be, I told you, it's not going to be like a 7-hour show tonight. I went 3.5 hours the other night, and it was so long I was hurting. What'd I do with it? Here it is. I want to show one quick article that appeared in the Jerusalem Post over the last couple of days. This was November 22nd, so 3 days ago. So this was over the weekend. This post appears over the weekend, and I am frankly shocked because once again, we have people that are not Christian interfering in the Christian religion, telling Christians how to practice Christianity and who they're allowed to listen to. And it's getting a little weird, to be honest with you. This is the Jerusalem Post. This is written by Michael Freund. I've got a wiki bio here of Michael Freund. He's an American-born Israeli political activist, meaning he was born here in the United States, but he now lives overseas. And he advocates on behalf of individuals and communities with real or alleged Jewish ancestry. So that's just kind of background for who this guy is. Pope Leo must denounce Candace Owens, Nick Fuentes for sinful anti-Semitism. Must state clearly and publicly by name that Nick Fuentes and Candace Owens do not represent Catholic teaching or Catholic values, and that anti-Semitism is sinful and dangerous. Again, can the Pope govern his own Christian faith without Michael Freund telling him how to govern a flock of 1.8 billion Catholics? Would that be okay? Is Michael Freund telling the Dalai Lama how to govern Tibet and Tibetans and Buddhists at large? I don't know who the chief Hindu person is, but is Michael Freund writing the chief Hindu person over in India, asking them to govern their flock in accordance with his wishes? Across the United States, anti-Semitism is not merely rising, it is metastasizing. In other words, it's a cancer. It's taken on new forms, new platforms, new proponents, weaponized modern media to amplify its ancient hatred. Now, I will say this. Nick Fuentes has said some things directly against Jewish people. I've never heard Candace Owens say anything that somebody's wrong for being Jewish. In fact, she went to jail to advocate for Harvey Weinstein, of all people. And I still don't understand that interview. But she went to jail and interviewed Harvey Weinstein. Does she have a problem with Israeli foreign policy? Yes. Has she been hostile, anti-Jew? Maybe I don't hear everything she says. Maybe I don't know. But I want to point out, here it is. There's a deeper reason the Vatican must speak now, one that extends far beyond Fuentes and Owens themselves. And then he comments on how the Catholic Church was one of the chief purveyors of anti-Semitism for 1900 years. But in the 1960s, he alleges the Catholic Church turned on its head and went completely out of the way to be totally different. And so he quotes this document, Nostra Aetate. I don't speak Latin, sorry. Which stated the church deplores all hatreds, persecution, and displays of anti-Semitism directed against the Jews at any time and from any source. I agree, but you know what I did that he probably didn't do? I went and read the document. And here's why. Anytime a person of another religion is writing in their own newspaper telling the Catholic Church how to govern itself and is appealing to Catholic documents, I think a Catholic should read it and intervene to determine whether or not they're accurate. I don't think it should be solely up to Michael Frund in the Jerusalem Post to tell Catholics how to read their own documents. And this is not a long document. There's a document from Pope Paul VI, October 28th, 1965. It's the Declaration on the Relation of the Church to Non-Christian Religions, and it focuses primarily on Islam and Judaism. But I don't think it says I don't think it means what he thinks it means. I think it actually undermines his point. And I want to show exactly what I mean by that. Because if you go to paragraph 4 here, I'm going to show it. And yeah, we're going to get a little cap and gown here today because I'm tired of this. I'm absolutely tired of the way this is portrayed in the West. As the Sacred Synod searches into the mystery of the church, it remembers the bond that spiritually ties the people of the New Covenant to Abraham's stock. This is the Ted Cruz approach. Ted Cruz will get on and say, hey, oh, by the way, and this has been Mike Huckabee's approach. But for Judaism, there is no Christianity, so therefore you must worship Judaism. Well, guys, I don't think you should dislike anyone because of their DNA. I don't think you should dislike anyone because of their religion, frankly. I might be alone in that. But I don't think also you should misrepresent someone's religion. If I, as a Catholic, went to the Hindu and I said, the true meaning of the Hindu faith is that you should worship Catholics, that you should honor Catholics, and you should lift up Catholics. I think they have every right to say, is that accurate? As a Catholic, is that, as a Christian? As a Hindu, is that true about our faith? And they should be able to go back and read their own Hindu scriptures, and they should be able to go back and read their own Hindu founding documents. I don't think there's anything anti-Christian about that. And if they conclude, no, in fact, that's not what our religion preaches, but they're polite about it, and they say, hey, we respect your right to be who you are, that's fine. Then I think, hey, everybody's peace on earth and good tidings to all. This is, after all, we're going into the Advent season. But this is the part right here that really bothers me. The Church of Christ acknowledges that according to God's saving design, the beginning of her faith and election are found among the. This is where Ted Cruz and Mike Huckabee and Rob McCoy stop reading. the beginnings of the Christian faith are found among the patriarchs, Moses and the prophets. There's no doubt about it. But for those, there is no Christianity. And this gets to my argument with Rob McCoy that he's talking about replacement theology. No one on our side is arguing for a replacement. What we're saying is that the promises of patriarch Moses and the prophets have been fulfilled. That's just the Christian position. That's not anti-Jewish. That's not angry about Jewish people. That's not anti-Semitic. That's not talking bad about them. It's not saying you should go out and discriminate against them, stop them from getting jobs, spit on them, say ugly things about them. None of that. I think that would be sinful. But just because you have received the revelation of the Old Testament, as it says right here, doesn't mean that the Christianity itself is somehow subservient to this other religion. Again, that's just not the claim. And I'm tired of being force-fed this idea that Jewish people know better what Christianity teaches than Christians. I'm tired of it. I'm just sick and tired of it. That's not to say they should be, again, discriminated against, run off the land, or anything like that. I'm not calling for that. What I'm calling for is, can Christians please interpret church doctrine? Can we stop having Ted Cruz on behalf of Israel tell us what we're supposed to believe? Can we stop having Mike Huckabee on behalf of Israel tell us what we're supposed to believe? Can we stop having rabbis writing in the Jerusalem Post and Israelis writing in the Jerusalem Post tell our Pope who they should and shouldn't be condemning? Can we stop with that? Because that's every bit as offensive to me. Yes, she draws substance from the root of the well-cultivated oil tree. Again, this was him quoting this document, not me. And that there's a reconciliation. But I'm telling you right here, it says Jerusalem did not recognize the time of her visitation, nor did Jews in large number accept the gospel. Yes, God holds the Jews most dear, meaning the Jewish people as a whole across all time. He does not repent of the gifts he makes or the calls he issues, okay? The church awaits that day, known to God alone, in which all people will address the Lord in a single voice and serve him shoulder to shoulder. In other words, the call of Jesus Christ will be fulfilled, that every knee will bow to him. There's not some dual track. This is the problem I'm seeing with Ted Cruz and Mike Huckabee and this guy writing in the Jerusalem Post. Don't appeal to our documents and then expect us not to read them. Don't do that, because I'm going to read it. Christ underwent his passion and death freely because of the sins of men and the infinite love in order that all may reach salvation. It is therefore, is it our burden to just yield to other religions? No, our job is to preach and proclaim the cross of Christ as God's all-embracing love from which every grace flows. In other words, we don't discriminate on people. That was wrong for years. We shouldn't have been doing that. But we also continue our goal to try to spread the message and love of Jesus to everyone, including Jews. That's the point of this document. That's the whole point of this document. And again, I don't do this because I'm a religious scholar. I don't do this because I'm trying to convince you of anything. Some of you are Catholic, some of you are not, some of you are atheists, some of you may be Jewish. I don't care. All of you should be treated as humans and loved deeply, every one of you. But I am so sick and tired of people writing in the Jerusalem Post telling Christians how to manage the Christian faith. It's not right. It's just not right. Be peaceful, be loving, be kind. Don't do ill to each other. Don't discriminate. Either way. I won't tell you how to run your religion. Don't tell me how to run mine. What if I wrote in the New York Times that, well, you know, Jewish people, they really should be out sacrificing bulls because that's what it says in it. I mean, who am I? Who am I? And if I told them, you know, you're not really practicing your religion if you don't do that, I would be wrong because I'm not of that religion and I shouldn't be pointing it out. Same thing if I went to Mormons and I said, hey, you're doing that. Or if I went to, I don't know. I always use Hindus because they're easy and there's a billion of them. And Buddhists, there's a lot of them too. But there's a lot of little smaller religions. What if we just picked on them? Say, yeah, you're not doing your religion right, obviously. And I just think that's a wrong approach to take. We've got to stop it. But sitting there and blaming Candace and Nick and anyone else because they're somehow upset with Israeli foreign policy and therefore it means they're anti-Jewish, judge them on the words alone. If you're going to say someone said something, judge them on the words alone. And if their words alone say, and sometimes, let's be honest about Nick, sometimes he said it. If you say, hey, by the way, I disagree with these people because of their DNA makeup, and I don't think they can be reconciled, and I don't think we can have a fair society as long. Hey, that's different. That's different. But this piling on Candace Owens bit right now in the midst of all this, I don't like it. I don't think it's right. And I'm going to call it out every time I see it. I'm going to keep calling it out. If you guys write in your papers telling us how to practice our religion, I'm going to call it out. Just like I'll call it out the other way. If I see an article in the New York Times by a Catholic priest or by a Baptist preacher telling Jewish people how to practice their religion, I'm going to call it out. I don't think it's right. Stop telling other people how to practice their own religion. Let me run through some of these real quick. Again, this is not going to be a super long show today, but I could not let the opportunity pass to say, if you guys remain silent, not just those of you who agree with Candace, but even those who don't, if you guys remain silent in the face of her claiming she has evidence, including the federal government, if you remain silent in the face of her claiming she has evidence that there's a team out hunting her down, you are complicit if anything happens to her. And it's not going to stop with her. And if she's right that a professional international hit squad took out Charlie Kirk and they're going to get away with it because we've got people like Jack Posobiec and others blaming Tyler Robinson over and over and over. It's almost an obsession with him. I think he gets paid by the tweet for blaming Tyler Robinson. If they get away with it, if Tyler Robinson dies in custody or he pleads guilty and he just keeps his mouth shut and they close the case and move on, then they will have gotten away. If it was true that they did it, they will have gotten away with it. You think that's going to make them want to do it less? You think that's going to disincentivize them? Come on. Come on. I love your show. Your humor's great. Sorry today hadn't been very humorous. I'm kind of angry. I don't like Americans being hunted for sport. And I'm really bothered by it. Like the fact that I was able to come on here and get through a monologue without yelling and getting really angry tells you a lot about where I am right now. I am shocked I was able to hold it together. But thank you. Vanessa Adam, appreciate that. Montezoo, you mentioned growing up on the east side of Indy. Since I live on the east side, I'm curious where exactly. How about Greenfield, Indiana? Greenfield, Indiana. That's public information. I'm not like sharing something. That's pretty easy to find. As a lawyer, pretty much everybody where they grew up is present. I lived there till I was 8. Not sure where you are, Montezoo, 317, but I know that's the area code. You're not getting that past me. Prayers to Candace and her safety, Real Base. Thank you for the donation. Also concerned she may be getting set up with misinformation for an Alex Jones-style lawsuit. I think you, Ian, and others should take some measures to protect yourselves. Thank you and God bless. I do take measures to protect myself. I only give my opinion on this show. That's it. I am not saying that, for example, the First Lady of France has a dong. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that she's got a little ramen noodle or a big ramen noodle. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just reporting that Candace is taking a lot of heat because she claims the First Lady's packing a lot of heat. That's all I'm saying. I just report what others say. Well, I do a little original reporting, but I always say, I think this is what happened. You tell me. You tell me if this looks right to you. Thank you for the donation. Did you watch the video of Mikey defending Sailor Rob's lies and sermons I sent you? I don't know, Savage Princess. I need to go. I don't recall seeing that. I'll go back and look. I think I know what your email is because you told me in there why you use a J instead of a G. I'll find it. Thank you for reminding me. Richie Rich. L-Bucks, $10. Keep going, bro. Managed to catch a live one from England. Hey, I was told, listen, an emailer told me that they cannot watch live podcasts from the United States without paying a fee. Did you know that? Or do you pay? I guess you pay the fee. Thank you for all your hard work, dude. You're a real angel. St. Michael's watching over you, Candace, Ian, and all of you true legends. Thank you. We could sure use all the help St. Michael and others give. I'm telling you, I learned this. Someone sent me an email and said, I'm not allowed to watch you live. I always catch you on the replay. And I was like, why? And they said I can't remember the organization, but they said there's some organization in the United Kingdom that unless you pay them a fee, you're not allowed to watch live streams on YouTube. I thought that was crazy. Like, United Kingdom is fallen. They're a shell of themselves. That is absolutely bananas. That you can't watch a live stream without paying a fee to the federal government or some organization acting on behalf of the federal government. I can't imagine. I guess we're heading there. We're always a few years behind them. Y'all shouldn't have given up your firearms. Y'all'd be watching live streams for free if you hadn't. Amigos Forever. Thank you for doing a show today. It was important after what Candace posted today. Yeah, I wanted to say what I said in support of her, and the alleged neutralization attempts against her. I do think the federal government should be taking steps to protect American citizens. If something happens to her and she is neutralized, I hate to put it this way, but you almost think the blood is on the hands of the people in power right now. Because they have the ability to protect her. If she's right, and this is a French team or a French-Israeli team or maybe a French-Egyptian-Israeli team, whoever it is she's thinking did it, I don't know what, and money's going through Canada. If she's right and they are allowed to pull it off, I don't see how it doesn't cause a complete collapse of the United States federal government. Thank you for your donation. Very kind. Adriana, thank you again. Also very kind. Candace is the only person I wait for and get excited about seeing her live, and now I feel the same way for you. You sometimes keep me up past my bedtime, but I'll let it slide since you rock. God bless. I sometimes keep myself up past my bedtime. Past my bedtime. That happened the other night. I intended to go no more than an hour and a half or 2 hours, and there I was 3 hours and 15 minutes in, desperately trying to get the show ended so I could go to bed. I had to work the next morning. That was late. And keep in mind, it's I don't know if I've explained this to you this way, but like imagine you're driving a race car and your adrenaline is going just a million miles an hour. And it's just coursing through your veins and your heart is pounding. And then you get to the finish line and you pull into the pits and as soon as you turn that engine off, you get this adrenaline dump. That's what it's like signing off of a radio show or a podcast. At least it is for me. It always has been. I don't get nervous behind a microphone. I used to get really nervous. If you listen to some of my early shows, I sound like an idiot. I used to get very nervous. I was very reserved. I was quiet. I was afraid to wear headphones because I didn't like the sound of my voice. Now I have to use the headphones to make sure that I'm getting what I intend to out of my wiggles. But there is an adrenaline dump when it's over. Actually, I used to wear an SpO2 monitor while I was on the air because sometimes I would talk so much and my breaths would be so short while I was talking that my oxygen would like dip into the 80s. It was terrifying. So I got to be careful. But thank you for the donation. And I'm sorry about the bedtime. It's worth it, though. It's worth it. I promise you it's worth it. Mail lady. Hey, Baron, hope you're doing well today. Thank you for being a strong voice in this. Our leaders are not speaking a word of this, and it is worrisome. It is, in fact, very worrisome. Very, very, very worrisome, which is why I am calling on the federal government to pass either a law, meaning a congressional action signed into law by the president, or the President of the United States to issue an executive order stopping this nonsense, saying to our enemies, if someone comes to us with credible information and we investigate it and find you responsible, we will indict your people responsible, bring them here, and execute them. Like, that's how seriously we're taking this. You're not going hunting in Utah for an American citizen. You're not going hunting in Middle Tennessee for an American citizen. We're not going to have it. We're not going to have it. So thank you, mail lady. Thank you for sticking up for Candace. I'm so worried about her. Speak up. That's the only thing you can do right now. Speak up. Speak up. Speak up. Speak up. Speak up. Take a picture. Speak up. The truth is always attacked. Jesus told the truth too. They called him crazy and crucified him. Hey, listen, Tucker Carlson tried that line of attack, and he got really savaged with that. He got really savaged when he said that Jesus was killed for telling the truth, and so was Charlie Kirk. Kind of hilariously savaged at times, but he got savaged. So I'm not going to say that, but I am going to say that I'm not going to compare Candace to Jesus. I don't think she would compare herself to Jesus. But I will say this. Candace is a valuable voice and investigator and journalist. I count her as a journalist in the United States of America. And like any other valuable voice who talks for a living, there are times she gets it wrong, I'm sure. There are times that you go back and look at something she said a month or two ago and you think, how did she miss that? She was on the wrong. That doesn't mean she should stop speaking. That doesn't mean she's wrong every time. The only thing it means is that she is a valuable voice, because there are times she gets it right. And just because she gets it wrong occasionally doesn't mean, I get stuff wrong. You get stuff wrong parenting. You get stuff wrong at work. Does that mean you get fired every time you get something wrong? No, that's ludicrous. Absolutely ludicrous. Does that mean you're crazy? No. That doesn't mean that at all. Thank you for your donation. Your message hit hard. As an American, I've never felt this sad or scared. It's terrifying this is happening now. What can we do to help? Speak up. Speak up. Use your platform to speak up. We need to protect Candace, and we need to take radical action. The federal government needs to take radical action to protect her citizens. Her being the federal government's citizens. These citizens of these United States. We, the people of the United States of America. We need to be protected by ourselves, by our government. Pam Graves, we must speak up. Thank you, Barron, for all you're doing for all you're doing for all of us. I will thank you, madam, when you take that second R out of that name. I will not have it. I will not have it. I understand the president has misspelled the name Barron relative to his child. I allow it to happen because he is the president of the United States. I will not criticize him, but he did misspell it. He did misspell it. Oh, boy. Thanks for going live and filling the void since Candace is off air this week. I sent you an email yesterday. I put Elo the Bee in the subject. I'll check it out, Elo the Bee. I will check it out. Again, I cannot sit by and not speak up. If I have a platform to speak up, and we need to speak up to demand the federal government of the United States protect our citizens who are under assault and under threat from foreign governments, that's an act of war. That is an act of war. If a foreign military detachment makes its way into sovereign American territory and kills an American citizen, that is an act of war. It shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen. I'm begging the federal government, I'm begging Donald J. Trump, Kash Patel, Tulsi Gabbard to reach out to their counterparts overseas and say, are you doing this? Because if I catch a word of it, it's going to be really bad for you guys. It's not going to end well at all. Geneva Gardner with some A-Bucks. Thank you. I don't know how much 8 A-Bucks is, but thank you. $33. Graybeards for $33. I'll write it for you, brother. Be strong and courageous, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Ian is such a humble, incredible young man. We earn his debt for introducing us to you. I agree with you that he's an humble, incredible young man. Um, and I'm glad he did introduce you to me because I've enjoyed this audience quite a bit, quite a lot. I used to only go live on Sunday, and now I've started going live a couple times during the week, and I'm considering a regular schedule of 3 or 4 shows a week to fill the void of everything that I have to say. And that way I don't have to go for 3 or 4 hours. I can go for an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, and then jump off because I know I have tomorrow to cover more stuff. Like I have more stuff I want to cover tomorrow that I'm not covering today, but in the event I go tomorrow, I want to have some material held back. President James Garfield was taken out after being in office for only 130 days because he was going after the deep state. They never talk about him. I thought he was a cat. I kid. Did we have a deep state back then? What year was he in office? James Garfield. I'm taking your word that that's true. He was assassinated in 1881. Was there a deep state in 1881? That was a long time ago. I'm going to look into that. Here, let me give me a picture of that. I'm going to look into that because if that's true, that's going to be a great series. I will really dig into that because no, you're right. Nobody's covering it. It'll be fascinating, truly fascinating. Hi, Baron. Great show. Opinion, please. My hubby, 30-year retired light colonel, USMC, has concluded with the MAGA split, we will lose the republic. We can't see a way out. We're starting to prepare thoughts and constant prayer for Candace Owens. I don't know that there's a MAGA split. I think MAGA's just gone. I mean, I really, it's sad to me because I think what happened in 2015 and 2016 can't ever be replicated again. And that breaks my heart because what a time to be alive. Man, that was so much fun. What a time to be alive. No one was banned. The Donald was on Reddit just, memeing Donald Trump's presidency into existence. The memes that came out of the 2015, 2016, Donald Trump just saying absolutely anything he had to say to get elected. I mean, he was a madman. He was wild in 2015 and 2016. 2020, far more reserved. Frankly, let's be honest. He did not do a lot of what he said he was going to do when he was running for office. He did some. But I never saw Hillary Clinton get locked up, for example. That was a big promise of his. He was going to lock her up. He did not. I didn't see a wall get built from sea to sea. I said he was going to do it. It was going to be a big, beautiful wall. It was going to be tall. He was going to throw people over the wall. That didn't happen. He built a few little pieces here and there. But largely the wall was unbuilt. Immigration was not slowed, stopped, or reversed. That just didn't happen. I mean, it maybe slowed a little, but it certainly wasn't stopped. And it certainly wasn't reversed. They were not deporting people at the rate they would have needed to kind of balance it all back out. So I think MAGA is pretty toast, honestly, especially after this 2024 campaign. I ought to go back and find it. In fact, I'm going to do this. Probably I'll do it for the next show if I do it tomorrow because it'll fit in with what I plan to cover tomorrow. I'm going to go back and show you my show from 2 or 3 weeks after he was elected and then installed when there were no protests. And the left was not debating him being in office. And they weren't calling for impeachments and they weren't calling him the devil and they weren't saying he was Hitler. It was like, well, I guess he won. So we'll just go on and do our best. And I thought, wow, what a difference that is from the first election. And I remember asking out loud on these airwaves that back before I had 8,363 people on a live, I might have had 36 people on a live. But I remember asking, where'd they go? Why are they not challenging him? Why are they not fighting him? And the answer seems to be, and I speculated, I said it's one of two things. Either they have him compromised and they've shared it with him, or he's agreed to play ball. In other words, or he agreed to meet behind closed doors and say, I'll give you whatever you want. Just don't shoot me or my family. You tried that in Butler, Pennsylvania? Leave my kids alone, leave me alone, and I'll just be like George Bush. I'll give you whatever you want. And it's starting to look like that because he's sort of governing like George Bush, even though he ran like Donald Trump again. But, man, you're never going to catch lightning in a bottle the way you did back then. That was like Pat Buchanan on crack. That was a great era to be an American. Deplatforming. Thank you for your donation. That was a very generous donation, Kerry Collins. Probably not Kerry Collins, the former quarterback, but other Kerry Collins. VBVCFGCC. How do you even remember what that means to log in? Deplatforming is not just an attack of the freedom of speech. It's also one on freedom of association and assembly. Charlie and Candace had the right to be friends, period, without repercussions. Agreed. Astute point. Jalinda Dream, $20. Trolls want us to believe a lone young male with a trans lover is responsible for the neutralization. But the French leader with power connections money also having a trans lover cannot possibly be involved. I didn't see where you were going. You got me. You got me on that one. That was great. See, that's how humor works, people. Unexpected endings. Which can be funny in a variety of contexts. Yeah, that's great. So it turns out Charlie Kirk was potentially neutralized by someone with a trans lover. Just not the one we thought. Thank you for the donation. That was Jalinda. That was very generous. Sofo 7991. Aside from battling comments on socials, would it help to contact our Congress folks? They are pretty worthless. Been thinking out loud for things we can do. Yeah, I mean, it can't hurt. It can't hurt to say, listen, could you possibly take any action to protect American citizens who feel like they're being hunted? Here's a 4-step plan that, if enacted into law, would not be probably not be invoked that often. The 4 steps I laid out earlier that concluded with having actionable information, verifiable, actionable information. How often does that happen? Like your run-of-the-mill crazy guy is not going to have actionable, verifiable information. But if Candace says they routed $1.5 million through the Bank of Canada and the guy who got it was named John Smith and he got it on November 3rd, now I got actionable information. Just ask the Bank of Canada, did this transaction take place? She can't do that, but they can. The federal government can. Yes, they can. So thanks for it. Yeah, it wouldn't hurt. Mail lady, $5. That's the article I found. I went to the archives a long time ago. I think I sent it to you and Candace. I'm going to send you some more stuff I got. I will probably read it. I got an email the other day from somebody that said, now that you get all these emails, you probably don't read my emails anymore. And I wrote back and said, no, I'm still reading. I'm still reading them. Just takes longer. The SNPR platform. I'm not going to say that out loud. Write the president and vice president, remind them of their constitutional duty. That wouldn't hurt. I don't know who reads those. I doubt J.D. Vance is sitting there between Twinkies reading the emails that come rolling in. I'm sure he has staff that does that. I don't know if he can see through all that eyeliner. Can he read through all that? I'm not sold on J.D. Vance as the successor to Donald Trump, by the way. Geo 5162. And speaking of the new covenant, he treats the first as obsolete, and what is becoming obsolete, growing old, is ready to vanish away. I don't know what version you've got, sir, ma'am. Sure. I'm going to read that in the version I trust, I think, if I can find it. If I can find Hebrews. Where is Hebrews? Is it way back there? Yeah, it's way in the back. Wow. All right, Hebrews 8:13. I got an email from an angry Church of Christ member who was upset because I said in the last episode that I was baptized in the Church of Christ, but eventually left and became Catholic. That was darn near 20 years ago. That I baptized 27 years ago. Actually, 27 years ago last week. It was November 16th of 98. And it became Catholic in Easter of 08. So it's been a while, but he emailed all upset about it. Hebrews 8:13. What do we have here? Is that 8? No, that's 9. I don't have an 8:13. Oh, yeah, I do. When he speaks of a new covenant, he declares the first one obsolete. And what has become obsolete has grown old, and has grown old is close to disappearing. Wow, that's pretty harsh. Close to disappearing from the prophet's perspective is that of the author, not that of the author of the Hebrews. Oh, from the prophet's perspective. Oh, so there's context there, and I'm not going to do it on air. I'm going to read about that. That's interesting what you just said there, because I wouldn't view the old covenant as obsolete. I would view it as necessary to understand the new covenant that fulfilled the old covenant. That is, I believe, and you guys may disagree with me, that is 2,000 years of Christian teaching. I don't think it's rude. I don't think it's anti-Semitic. I don't think it's racist. I don't think it's ugly. I just think it is what it is. Like, guys, we live in a society, and in our society, there's lots of different religious people. Be nice to love one another. You don't have to be ugly to each other, but don't misrepresent the other person's religion. That's crazy. That's absolute bananas. And don't misrepresent your own just because someone pays you a bunch of campaign money. Ted Cruz. Is it possible that this goes back to MK Ultra as well as Stargate Project, AI now and in Delaware? And did you search France with Charlie Kirk searches? Yeah, I've got a whole France thing I'm working on with the Google Trends. That's an interesting rabbit trail there. That goes back a long way, some of the stuff I found in there. Much longer than the other places. Is it possible this goes back to MK Ultra? I mean, isn't that Candace's point that she believed? And honestly, if you put the picture, the last known photo of Jean-Michel Trogneux up against the prisoner photo she has from the Stanford prisoner experiment, and you don't conclude that's the same person, I question your prescription, your eye prescription. Like, get back to Costco. Get you a new set of specs. Thank you for your passion, sir. Go Max. Thank you for your passion, Sandy, Colorado Life. Speak up. Speak up. Speak up. If we get silenced and remain silenced, they will pick us off one at a time. I don't mean that in a violent way. I mean, like, say we're crazy. What's the word I'm looking for? Ridicule us. Minimize our effect and our reach. We cannot go that route. We cannot go that route. We must speak up, lock arms, and support each other. This was the Matt Walsh position. I know a lot of you guys don't like Matt Walsh. I don't like where he works. But this is the Matt Walsh position. People on our side of the aisle cannot afford to fight with each other. We must lock arms and speak up. Original Polywog, $20. Thank you. Ephesians 4:32. Be kind to one another, tenderhearted, forgiving one another, even as God, for Christ's sake, forgave you. Agreed. That's what I've been saying. This is how you treat people in a society, even when you're of a different religion, even if you disagree. You don't tell me how to practice my religion, I won't tell you how to practice yours. You don't be ugly to me, I won't be ugly to you. You don't discriminate against me, I won't discriminate against you. That's society 101. That's the contract. That's the golden rule. Treat others the way you want to be treated. That's in there somewhere as well. I don't know the book or the verse, but it's in there. It's in there. Don't give a dom. $10. Thank you. Emailing you, what do Podesta's Chaos, Nordello and Company, Alex Jones, and Candace Owens all have in common? And why do their stories keep crossing inside the same networks? We're all from Adam and Eve. Are all three of those sentences related? I don't know the answer to the second sentence. The first sentence, fine. Email me, realbaronpodcast@gmail.com. And we're all from Adam and Eve. Agreed. Wow. Rita Rushing, $49.99. Thank you, Rita. Thank you. I have 7 siblings, so I think of you and your kiddo. I think you and your kiddos are awesome. 8 is great. 8 is great. I have the most wonderful family. My children are just amazing. Does that mean we've never had arguments in our house? No. We've had arguments. We've disagreed. We've hurt each other's feelings. We've hurt each other's souls. But you know what? It is an absolutely loving environment when you get down to it. Even when the kids fuss and fight because it's my turn to pick a show. It's my turn to pick a show. He touched me. He's sitting on my square of the couch. Even when all that happens, it's such a loving place, and they wouldn't trade it. I encourage everyone, have as many kids as you can. Let me be honest with you. If you're having trouble right now deciding whether to have children, if you're married and you're of childbearing age, 18 to 40, let's call it, And you say, should we have another child? Yes. Yes. But we already have, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. But I'm afraid if I have a fit, no, have it. Have the child. Your life will be blessed. But I don't know that we can afford. Have the kid. Have the kid. Who is the Saint Jose Maria Escrivá? Said every child is born with a loaf of bread under his arm. The Lord will provide. Have the child. Have the child. And then celebrate a big loving family. Your kid is going to be more blessed by having more children, more siblings, than having more stuff. We didn't take a lot of vacations as a family. We didn't drive the nicest cars as a family. There were times we lived in small apartments as a family. But you know what? My kids will be more blessed by growing up and growing old with a bunch of siblings than they would have been by living in the suburbs in a bigger house at an earlier age, by driving a nicer car as a teenager, or by riding around in a nicer van with the family on the way to church or the grocery store. They will be better off having those additional siblings than they would have been getting to go to Disney World. They'll be better off having the additional siblings than they would have been having the nicer couch or being able to replace the carpet this year. They'll be better off having the additional siblings when they're 40, 50, 60 years old and they can lean on each other and love on each other. They'll be better off with those siblings having 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 siblings than they would have been at being able to play a season of travel ball or any seasons of travel ball. Rec ball's fine, guys. Your kid's 8. He's not going to the majors. Put him in rec ball, let him have some fun, and let him come home and play pickup ball with his 6 little brothers. How about that? They'll have more fun, I promise. It'll be a more enriching life than being miserable, staying in hotels, paying a bunch of money to play travel ball. Have the kids. Have the kids. Now, make sure you're, married and all that stuff. But have the kids. Have the kids. Your kids will be more blessed. I promise you. Thank you for that generous donation and the opportunity to go on a rant. I didn't know I was going to do that. Just common sensing it, 1999, Candace having to inform the government about a foreign government plot against her seems backwards. Agreed. Cash looks like he can stand on the front porch and count chickens in the backyard. I've not heard that before. But it seems he can only see as evidence they don't have. Yeah, I'll be honest. Cash lost me when he said that there was nothing to the Epstein and it was an op. I understand that's what he had to say because that's what the president wanted him to say, and he serves at the pleasure of the president. But at a certain point, I'd rather not serve at the pleasure of the president than have to say stuff like that. You know what I mean? Rather than say stuff like that, I would rather say, I'm just not going to serve at the pleasure of the president. I'll just do something else. I mean, Cash is already rich, right? Yeah, Cash has plenty of money. He doesn't need a $180,000 salary as the FBI director. He had like a great podcast and he was making $5 million for these people and those people. He's fine. Thank you for the donation. Returning Catholic here. Thank you for being a strong advocate for Catholics. The upside of others trying to tell you Catholics their scriptures is helping to create a new explosion of religious studies. I agree. Clisbear. And I'm not telling people to be Catholic. I love being Catholic, and I think the Catholic Church is phenomenal, and it is for everyone. It's for anyone. It's not for everyone because it is demanding. The Catholic Church is for anyone, but it's not for everyone because it is demanding. You have to do certain things. You can't just skate by. We require certain things of you. And some people aren't up to the challenge. They should be, but they're not. So that's, thank you for your kind donation. Heads Together, Crypto 2422. Do we know who shot the Alex Jones employee? I do not. Wasn't that a sniper shot to the neck? I didn't think about that. Was it? I know he got It wasn't an up-close shot, I don't think. Andrew Colvett has not denied telling Candace it was supposed to be her. What does he know feels sinister. Not only has he not denied saying that, he has admitted, again, every time Andrew Colvett comes up, I need to remind you people, and yes, it sounds repetitive, but we do have new people listening every time, and this is a fact that continues to get lost when TPUSA is discussed. Andrew Colvett, as soon as Charlie Kirk got murdered, or within days, goes through his text messages and finds a text message from Charlie Kirk where Charlie Kirk says that he was leaving the pro-Israeli cause, and Andrew Colvett screenshots it and sends it to the feds, allegedly. He admitted he did, I think. And because he thought it was relevant. He thought that was relevant. And now Candace Owens tells us she talked to Andrew Colvett, again, taking her at face value, not saying the conversation happened, but saying she said it happened, that she talked to him, Andrew Colvett, in the days after the political neutralization of Charlie Kirk. And Charlie Kirk said it was supposed to be you, and you and Tucker are on a watch list. Watch out. Stay low. Lay low. Again, if this is true, it's not Tyler Robinson. If this is true, it's not Tyler Robinson. Jack Posobiec. It's not Tyler Robinson. You're losing all credibility when you say it is. And I know you can say this because you know how this ends. You guys all know how this ends. Tyler Robinson's either going to have a broken hyoid bone suicide, just like Jeffrey Epstein did, or, that's option one, or option two, he pleads guilty and doesn't say anything and there's no trial. And they close the investigation. And then Jack Posobiec can say, see, I told you it was Tyler Robinson the whole time. But no, we don't know who did that to Alex Jones's employee. Preach on, brother in Christ. Balkans ain't going to reform itself. P.S. Hi, Mom. Yes, big in the Balkans, Fuzzy Logic. Don't forget that. We are huge in the Balkans. We're international now. We're international. I know this isn't $5, but I put the $5 limit on, but I am going to say this because the UK people are arguing with each other. Here's one saying he's in the UK and watches live with YouTube Plus. This one with more L-Bucks says, that's not true. I'm in Scotland watching free. I don't know what the deal is over there. Go Browns. Officer Brandon Talmud Tatum said he reached out to Candace and he believes it's legit. That's saying something. I saw that on Twitter. That Brandon Tatum allegedly has viewed some of the evidence and now agrees. Now, the fact that Brandon Tatum has been very hostile to Candace's position and is now supporting the fact that he believes there might be an international hit squad running loose in the United States getting ready to take their shots at American citizens is all the more reason, speak up people, to contact the government, post on Twitter, post on Facebook, speak up, and apply pressure saying we're not going to allow safari hunts on American citizens from foreign military outfits. We're just not going to allow it. We're not going to allow it. You must prevent it, and you must take actions to protect her and stop it from happening in the future and figure out if that's what happened to Charlie Kirk. Because if what she's saying true, that there's something after her, and she's saying they were also after Charlie Kirk, why would she be wrong about one if she's right about the other? Speak up. Speak up, speak up, speak up. I can't read all these. I can't read them all. But I'm sure they're great. I'll look them up afterwards, Kellyanne. Kellyanne. Atomic Blonde 10, $49.99. What do you think we should do? Elections haven't produced protective. That's a very generous donation. Thank you, Atomic Blonde. I just noticed that. Elections haven't produced protective leaders. Many hope Trump would be, but his actions and administration contradict that. With Newsom as governor and Trump reversing promises, how can we expect change? You can't right now. I mean, I'm very negative about the future of the Republican presidential party. If we could elect Donald Trump twice and this is what we get, like we took a crack with John McCain and Mitt Romney, like two of the worst Republicans that have ever lived. And we took a crack at it with George Bush, who won twice and was like worse than those two. And we finally get our guy in there. We finally put the middle finger up to the entire establishment, and we say we're going to tear it apart from the inside, and we finally got our guy that's going to just drain the swamp, pull the plug, let all the creatures go down the drain. It's going to be amazing. Donald Trump is going to rock our world. And what do we get? More H-1B visas? That's it? A few deportations here and there? We get inflation. I mean, what am I supposed to be excited about right now? What am I supposed to be looking at J.D. Vance and expecting? Like, I wanted radical change. I wanted like a bull in the china shop, just knocking everything over. I was hoping we'd get some closures of some major departments. Why do we need EPA? Oh, so that they can pass new pesticides that have forever chemicals to spray on our food? Like, that's what I voted for? So we can have more foreign wars? That's what I voted for? We can bomb more brown people? That's what I voted? No, I didn't vote for any of that. I didn't vote for any of it. So I'm negative right now. I'm not ready to say give Gavin Newsom a try, but at least he's running a fun campaign. No, he'd be a disaster. Basically, anybody the Democrats put up would be a disaster. You're going to eventually have to bite your tongue and vote for the Republican. That's part of being a conservative. That's just part of it. And every now and then you fight like hell in the primary, and then you kind of bite your tongue and hold your breath there in the general. The alternative just isn't good. And I hate that this is the reality. I hate this is the way it is. Absolutely despise it. Thank you for your generous donation. Veronica Chapa, very generous from you as well. Thank you, Baron. You rock. Yes, we all need to protect Candace. Wiggle away. I wiggle as much as anyone. Someone sent me a time lapse of my show. It was hard to watch. And I have made this is a couple days ago. I've made a conscious effort to be more still. I don't know if you've noticed. I'm trying my best over here, people. I'm doing it for you. I'm doing it for you. Came in late, Amanda Van Allen. That's because you were in the radiation belts. Came in late, so I have to watch the replay at work tomorrow, but wanted to say thank you for everything you, Ian, and Candace do. Prayers for all your safety. Thank you for your prayers. We're just over here trying to solve the world's ills. That's all. Super sticker. Thank you, Renee. Cerns 05-999 sent you an email about the National Boy Scout camp near Beckley. I read it, sir, and it was long, and I read a lot. Lots of suspicion of military presence when it was built. You're now my favorite podcast to watch. Keep going, Max. I read your email in detail. I got out maps. I looked at historical maps that are available online. I looked at the history of the mining operations that took place there at the National Boy Scout camp near Beckley. I looked at some of the activities. I had fun. You sent me on a nice little rabbit trail there, sir. That was pretty wild, I'll be honest. Someone in the chat said it. Charlie's name is dead without Candace, so is finding out who killed him. Thank you for speaking out. Prayers, everyone. I really appreciate your work. Speak up, everyone. You know, I heard this from a friend of mine the other day. I won't out him. Some of you may have heard of him. But I heard it from a friend of mine the other day. He said, aren't you getting a little tired of all this Charlie Kirk news? Shouldn't we just agree to move on and just see what happens? I hope that's not the case if something suspicious happens to me. If I'm assassinated by foreign dignitaries, I hope somebody tracks down the answer and gives my family closure. Or at least makes an honest effort. No, I'm not closing up the tent just yet. Now, I might cover other things in addition to this, but I'm not giving up on this. We gave up on Vegas. We have no idea what happened to the Vegas shooting. The best I can tell, people shot machine guns out of helicopters at American civilians. Probably non-Americans were the ones doing it. We let 400 and something people get slaughtered at a concert. And then we blamed some rando who played video, apparently made millions of dollars playing video poker, which is ludicrous in and of itself on its face. And then everyone moved on. Everyone was like, yeah, that's enough. I'm willing to accept that. No, I'm not doing it again. We can't keep moving on because we get bored. The Stephen Paddock investigation is not over. It is not over. He did not do that. He did not do Vegas. Stephen Paddock did not do that with a bump stock. It's impossible. If Candace was neutralized, do you think there would be armed resistance against the government or just useless marching? I don't think there'd be either. And that's sad to me. I don't think there'd be either. And that's sad to me. I think there would be apathy. And I think they know that. Just like, I mean, did you see armed resistance or marching when Charlie Kirk got shot? No. None of you guys believe Tyler Robinson did that, and no one's doing a thing about it. And I don't think you should, because we can't prove anything yet. But even if we could prove it, what's going to happen? So no, I don't think there would be armed resistance against the government. I don't even think there'd be useless marching. I mean, with Charlie Kirk, they had a funeral. A couple 100,000 people showed up and ended up on an Israeli mail list to get spammed with text messages. So Candace's website appears to have been hacked. Please continue to speak daily as a rallying point and leader in this darkness. Candace Owens' website? What is it? CandaceOwens.com? We'll see. I'll be the judge of that. My VPN. No, it doesn't look like it to me. Doesn't look like it to me. If our federal government doesn't investigate, we have our answer. CO's words don't match the globalist agenda. We the people is where the power truly lies. By the way, you guessed my hometown on your second guess. I did. Jamie Abbott. I don't recall doing that. I have to go back and figure out when that happened. But good. Good. I agree with you. If the federal government doesn't investigate, then they probably are aware at this point. And I don't want to say complicit, but like passive. Passive. I agree with you there. Thank you for the donation, John Hanley. Thank you for the donation, Edge 180V. 180V. I8V. I8V. I don't know who V is. X account Skiff posted. The White House had confirmed. No, that's wrong. Skiff misunderstood. That's what I was trying to say at the beginning of the show. Skiff, the X opponent. I agree with you that the X account Skiff posted that. But Skiff misunderstood. Totally misunderstood. That's not what she said. What she said is they've received the message. That's what they said. That's what they said. Ian Carroll show. Oh, Ian's working on something huge. I don't even know if I'm supposed to say that. But y'all better be following him. I'm telling you, you better be following him. When he goes live, you better watch him. Because if you don't, you're not going to be up to date. You're not going to be up to date. Don't miss his broadcasts. Period. Set an alarm. You may have covered this. Thank you for the donation, Ian. Thank you for you may have covered this. I'm just now tuning in. Do you think Candace isn't streaming because she and George packed up the kids and headed out of town? I suggested that might have been one of the reasons, Mackenzie. I suggested that might have been one of the reasons that she might be. Maybe on vacation. Or hiding. Jennifer Kalinick, thank you for the $19.99. Very, very generous. $20, Kelly Wilkie. Like Candace said, we need to go full on Cracker Barrel and make our voices heard. Thank you from Kalispell, Montana. That's a long way away, ma'am. Yeah, you saw what happened when we spoke up about Cracker Barrel. We've got our old man back on the logo. There's now an old man on the logo again. And he's leaned up against a barrel of crackers. If you can do that, you can do anything, people. There's nothing that's beyond your ability if you just speak up. We're not going to let you take our old man off the Cracker Barrel logo, and we're not going to let you take the #1 podcaster off air. Period. End of story. And we're not going to let you take her life. Speak up. Speak up. Speak up. Trump is calling for Mark Kelly to be court-martialed. I saw that. And have a military trial. He is a sitting senator. Why would you believe at this point that Trump would protect Candace, glad to catch you live. Well, so there's a nuance here. I used to be I've tried a lot of military cases, ma'am. I've tried cases under the UCMJ. They don't joke around in there. That is a different world. And you are not subject to regularly appointed federal courts. You are subject to military judges, and you are subject to a jury of your military peers, and they may not appreciate the politics of what Mark Kelly did when he told people that they're free to disregard Trump's orders. So I'm just telling you right now, you and I might part on that one. You and I might part on that one. I know this isn't $5, but he did donate more than $5 on another one, so I'm going to read this because together that adds up to more than $5. Don't have social media. What did Candace post? When I'm done, sir, scroll back to the beginning. Listen to my monologue. It's outrageously amazing. And then right after the monologue, I cover what Candace posted on social media. I don't want to go back through it. Ian Carroll. Ian, you're like a super sticker machine. Did someone hack your, look at this. Did someone hack your account? Am I going to have to pay you all this back? JMO, 8525. Thank you. Very generous donation. Ian, more generous donations. Thank you. Again, I don't say this because of his donation. I say this because I believe it. Ian is doing yeoman's work on this story, and you must watch his next live show. I don't know when it is. Has he put it up yet? Do we know when it is? I thought it would be tonight. I actually went early so that I would be off so that I could watch it. You wonder why I went at 5:00. Now you know, because I want to watch Ian's show. Did he put up yet when he's going? Not yet, but I've got my subscription and my notification. So when he goes, I will find out. But watch his show. Subscribe, notification, all that. You're not going to want to miss it. Not going to want to miss it. I sent you the email Transnational Hit Squad, and the Black Mazda showed up. I saw that. I'm right. Am I rightly to be alarmed? I filed a police report on the car. Should I hand over Google Trends data too, or is that over their head? That's going to be over their heads. For those that aren't following along at home, this guy had some suspicious activity outside of his house that he took pictures of. I would definitely file a police report and get a camera for your house. Man, your entire perimeter of your home should be covered by cameras. And the entire perimeter. And you should be armed inside your home. So that probably shouldn't have said that on YouTube. You have rights available to you. Maybe you should exercise. I'm not talking about freedom of assembly or the freedom to be free from quartering soldiers in non-peacetime, as the Third Amendment gives you that right. Flip side here, heard of Ian from you. Ian, you owe me one. I found the one person who'd never heard of you until me. That's awesome. Thank you for telling me that. You made my day, Edge IAV. I wish I knew how to pronounce that. Or is it just Edge and the rest is gibberish? Granny's Recipes, $10. Thank you. Kind sir, if DJT called Candace, surely he knows what is going on. Why would he not be moved again? Thank the Lord for you. I hadn't considered that the phone call itself was evidence that he was aware that her life was in danger. I hadn't considered that at all. You just rocked my mind a little bit. I kind of figured he called just because she was covering the dong story. I didn't consider the fact that he was aware that her life was in danger and he was trying to protect her by calling her. I think she said in one of her social media posts, I read it on air during the last show Sunday, that had the president called her and said, hey, this is a national security issue, can you please back off? She would have. But they didn't say that. They said, hey, she's mad you're saying she has a hog. Can you stop saying she has a hog? And Candace is like, yeah, but she has a hog. So how can I stop saying she has a hog when she has a hog? She's got one. I don't know. What is, in your opinion, the best and most effective way to speak up? Have lost complete faith in our leadership and government. I have lost a lot of faith myself. Again, it's in order. It depends on your reach. Some of you have a lot of in-person friends. Some of you are influential in your church, your community. And a lot of you have just gotten beat down over the last 10 years because we've become embarrassed at times to be conservative, particularly if you live in areas where that's not in vogue. If you live in Boca Raton or Westchester, New York, or you live in San Francisco, being a conservative probably isn't very popular. It's probably difficult to speak up. Those people might want to concentrate more on your social media output. But I would speak up any way you can. I would stop shying away from it. Stop acting embarrassed just to get along. That's denying your true beliefs. That's sinful. Stop shying away from it. If somebody in front of you says, "Oh, that Candace Owens, she's nuts," say, "Why is she nuts?" Because I believe her. Ah, you can't believe her. She belongs in a loony home. Well, tell me why. Because she says she has the receipts, and other people are looking at the receipts and tend to agree with her. And these are people that don't agree with her usually. What in particular do you not believe? Oh, she said the French are out to get her. And why are you saying she doesn't? Well, they're not. She's claiming she knows the names of the people and she's turned it over to the government. Shouldn't we just let it play out? Why are we trying to silence her? I mean, speak up, speak up, speak up, speak up. I just resent the video, or you resent it, one or the other. Mikey defends Sailor Rob. Thank you. I included the interview with Cash on TR. Foreign influence and not acting alone. Great show today. Thank you, Savage Princess. Thank you for the donation and thank you for the email. I'll look at that. Puking Dog, $10. Read United Nations document replacement migration. Details the plan to replace all Western industrialized nations' population with Southern nations in the UN doc library. Is that true? That seems pretty forward. That seems pretty forward considering how many people are attacked. Let's see here. I'm reading this one just because it's outrageous, even though it's not $5. Did Jesse on Fire say Erica was 8 weeks pregnant? I have not heard that, but that would be pretty quick turnaround. That would be a pretty quick turnaround. It might make you wonder. I don't believe it. I'll believe it when I see it. Let's not go there. I'm not talking about seeing it. I'm talking about I'll believe it when I see the bump and the announcement. I believe it when I see that. I like Jesse on Fire, though. He's usually not too far off. So that'll be a fun one to watch. Can we address the misinformation regarding cost out of watching live podcasts from Scotland, UK? It's free. You just did. I only report what I hear. I'm not telling you how the British people live. I'm just telling you what I hear. I don't know. I wouldn't live over there, to be honest with you. I've heard people that have visited Scotland say it's amazing, but I don't want to be disarmed. I'll be honest with you. I got too loud of a mouth. Do you really believe if such law existed, the government would actually do anything since they have no problem neutralizing their own citizens like JFK? No, not necessarily, but at least there would be a policy and a law saying they're supposed to. And we would have a better right to speak up and say, hey, I've given them this and they're not protecting me. Easier to hide in public, in other words, for the aggrieved party. Good point. The Old Testament is the New Testament concealed. The New Testament is the Old Testament revealed. Go IU. Fight. Mission forward. I saw that helmet. You can't sneak that by me. I like that. That's an interesting way to put it. I'll allow that. Ryan I highly recommend all to watch the recent debate between Steve Gregg and Dr. Michael Brown on the topic, is modern Israel the fulfillment of biblical prophecy? You heard it from I've watched nothing. Feels like I'm skipping a little bit. Feels like my screen is skipping. JD Vance is fake and gay. He's a follower, not a leader. I don't think anyone truly believes he could be a president. I'm sending him eyeliner for Christmas. I'm weirded out by the name change, if I'm being honest. That's enough for me. If you're a man and you've gone by 3, 4, 5 different names, I've got every reason to doubt whether you can be president of the United States. Because I only know a few men who've changed their name. And they're hiding something. Every one of them's hiding something. I don't know what you're hiding, eyeliner boy. I don't dislike him. I just don't trust him. I shouldn't have called him eyeliner boy. But I mean, we're being honest, right? Baron, if you decide to dive into the upcoming Epstein files or what have you, please look into the Franklin scandal. is so relevant, in my opinion, to what's coming. It was completely dismissed years ago. So completely dismissed, I don't even know what it is. I'll take a picture of that. You guys don't believe me, but when I take a picture of something, I do go back and look at it. Have a child and teach it taxation is theft. Yeah, I'm not a libertarian. I do believe that a little taxation is okay. It is in general theft, but it's, what's the alternative? You're Somalia? That's a libertarian paradise. MAGA is splitting. I can't divide something that wasn't truly united to begin with. Masks are slipping from the faces of those who only ever serving their own interests. Those silent, lying low now were never MAGA. Great point, Kellyanne. Great point. The great benefit that Donald Trump gave us? It's not a wall because it didn't get built. It's not a bunch of deportations because they didn't happen. It's not any of this stuff. The best thing Donald Trump did for us was he identified the phonies on the right. He identified the phonies. When Ben Shapiro came guns blazing for Donald Trump, we knew right then, bad Benji. He can't be trusted. When Jeff Goldberg, is that his name? Jeffrey Goldberg? I think that's his name. The whole National Review crowd. The old guy that had the communist dad who pretended to be a Republican. Gosh, I can't remember all their names anymore. But anyway, the best thing Donald Trump did was point it out. Because all these people were like, nope, I'm never Trumper. I'm never. Anybody but Trump. We're supporting Mr. Heidi Cruz. Don't vote for anyone for president whose wife works at Goldman Sachs. That's a good general rule. That's a great general rule. If your wife works at Goldman Sachs, you're not qualified to be president. Just a good general rule. I emailed my Texas state rep yesterday about Candace, called, left messages as well. Did the same at MTG office. It's one more voice. Speak up. Speak up. Silence is violence. Speak up. Ooh, I like that. Sharanendia, 179 somethings. Ooh, you heard my dog. She's angry. Brr. She's saying, you promised 90 minutes and it's been an hour and 45. Woof, woof, woof. Well, hush, old girl. Stop talking. You can talk to dogs that way, not the lady of the house. 999 if the Macrons did actually do what is being alleged, it would be a violation of Article 5 of NATO. That's aggressive. That's aggressive. I'm not going to read this one out loud, but I don't believe that's what Cash's old lady is. But I also don't believe old ladies should get details. I mean, like the Biden's kids don't even have a security detail anymore. I don't think. I don't think the girlfriend of cabinet appointees should. But I don't think Americans should be in danger either. If there was a credible threat on her life, she should be protected. As should any American. My issue is with Cash, not the old lady. I just wish Cash was a little stronger advocate for America and freedom. Hey, Barron, thanks for everything you do. Maybe if we all tweet at Real Donald Trump, we can have a public record of we the people voicing our concerns about Candace. It can't hurt. It can't hurt. You could tweet at a lot of people. I think you need to be heard because right now there's a directive on the anti-Candace people. You must speak, and they're speaking like crazy. We must speak up. If you want to protect her life, you must speak up. You may have answered this question in the past, but may I ask what denomination of Catholic are you? There is no denomination of Catholic, sir. There's not supposed to be. God bless you and yours. Children are the best. I'm just Catholic. I mean, I know there's the SSPX people, but I'm not one of them. I'm just regular, run-of-the-mill Catholic. Latin right? I guess that's what he's asking. What right are you? I'm Latin right, as is almost every other Catholic in the world, save a very small minority who are a few other rights. I do enjoy a good Latin mass every now and then. I go, I don't know, half the time lately to a Latin mass. I do Novus Ordo the rest of the time with my family here. But we hit up different parishes around town. Not super loyal to to one particular parish. 37-year-old unmarried woman. Can I still have kids between 38 and 40? Sure, why not? Why not? Be healthy, take your vitamins, but why not? Don't take Tylenol unless you want them to count matchsticks or something. I kid. Guys, come on. You got to know my sense of humor by now. Sure. Obviously better if you're married. But yeah, you can just have kids at 38. That's not. My wife was 42, I think, when my last one was delivered. Healthy as a horse. The kid, not the woman. I would never call her that. Galatians 2:21, I do not frustrate the grace of God, for if righteousness come by the law, then Christ is dead in vain. Okay. Yeah. Don't forget James. Don't forget James. I'm reading this because he said he's broke, or she said she's broke. Oh, mail lady, you've already donated anyway. Blake Bednards, have you seen? Sorry, I have seen lots of Blake Bednards stuff. Is there something new that Blake Bednards has put up that I should be seeing? Because I have seen lots of what he's put up here lately. He hadn't put anything up in 4 hours. Let me see here. I don't see anything. I'll watch this later. Maybe we'll cover it tomorrow because this looks like a video that's over a minute, and so I don't want to play that right now. But I've got it pulled up. I'll watch it. Maybe we'll watch it tomorrow. Thank you for your donation, mail lady. Had 5 siblings. Mom of 8 here. Have more babies. Way to go, Monica. Keep them coming, old gal. Keep pumping them out. Yeah, I do. I'm serious, though. The best thing you can do for the future of humanity is to have more babies. That's the best. The best thing you can do. Good versus evil. You have to fight a spiritual battle on a spiritual front. You cannot win a spiritual battle on a political front. Zachary King. Pray and fast. I agree with you. That's great. Thank you for the donation, Matt Lang. Thank you for the donation as well, Sarah and Matt. McViewer, $20. Thank you. Thank you for that donation. Very kind. I'd like to register a complaint on a $20 bill. Am I getting my time zone confused, or did you start at 5 p.m. Central rather than 7 p.m. Central? Posted on X, but no judgment. Appreciate you, sir. Yeah, I might have posted X at 7 and then changed it to 5. I do apologize. Let me look and see what I put on X. Let me just go to my profile here. I might have put 7. I apologize. Yep, I did. We'll get people joining in a few minutes to find out they missed the whole program. Sorry about that. Yeah, I changed my mind and went a little earlier because I was making space for Ian should he want to go. Because I want to watch it live. It's selfish. Guilty as charged. Did you hear Pam Bondi announced federal charges against a man for sending a death threat to conservative commentator Benny Johnson, expressing violent intent and hatred for Johnson's political views? I did not hear that. But yeah, nobody should be threatened for their political views. Nobody, either side. The old propaganda gaslight playbook doesn't work anymore. Thank you for your generous donation. No one watches CNN. The grotesque, evil 80-year-olds had no idea, but now they do. Excited but scared to see what's next. Crowdsourced intelligence agency is, yeah, agreed. No one watches TV anymore. I mean, by the time this show has racked up 24 hours, more people will have seen this than watch a lot of CNN shows. I mean, more people saw my last show than watched than have seen half of the CNN lineup. So, and who am I? I'm not number one. Candace is up there with the primetime slots, the biggest shows in America by the time 24 hours runs. So, Tucker, same thing. Joe Rogan, Sean Ryan. The media's changed. If you're on TV, no one's coming to watch you. Macron was at White House, spoke to Trump about Candace, and then called her. She paused. Topic resumed months later. I wonder if Macron set the wheels in motion, or did he contact Trump first? That's an interesting question, whether or not they got permission. I'd be very disappointed if an American government official gave permission for a foreign intelligence agency to hunt American citizens on American soil. But I can't say for sure they didn't. Excellent video by Dr. Taylor Marshall, Charlie Kirk, Candace Owens, Catholicism in Israel, worth a watch. I got a great picture on here. Let's see if I can find it quickly. From back in my drinking days, there was a lot of alcohol consumed on this night But I got a great picture with Dr. Taylor Marshall from an event in Washington, D.C. I'm close. There it is. Check that out. That's your humble host and Taylor Marshall. 5-6 years ago? It was a while back. There was more than a little booze consumed that night, and that's as close as we got, ladies and gentlemen. There was no chicanery. But that was fun. That was a nice night. Yeah, it's worth a watch. I will watch it. I like Dr. Taylor Marshall. Big fan. Pro 31 Designs, thank you for the $10. So since we know all about all allegedly the threats to Benny Johnson, Pine Bondi took action. When are we going to see this level of response press conference with regards to Candace? Speak up indeed. Speak up indeed. If they're willing to protect Benny Johnson, of all people, let's protect Candace. My goodness. And I like Benny Johnson. I don't want to say that. I don't want to lie to you people. I'm indifferent to Benny Johnson. You and Ian really need to coordinate. Love you both. I'm a big fan of Ian's. Big fan. I'm willing to coordinate with Ian. Absolutely willing to coordinate with him. And let's see if we can do something to scratch that itch one day. Love to fuse glass. I don't know what that means. Sounds scary. Algiest Nydream was in a video on YouTube that shows with classic physics, it shows Charlie Kirk death faked. Have you seen this? No, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I had an interesting conversation about the see you in Valhalla comment, though. Here's my take on that. And I got an interesting email about that as well, that a couple of weeks, maybe a month before the Charlie Kirk assassination, FBI Director Kash Patel was in New Zealand right next to the Valhalla Resort. He was in Wellington opening an FBI office there. Why we need an FBI office in New Zealand, I'll never understand, but there he was in Wellington, New Zealand, opening an FBI office. And in the backdrop, I mean, like right next door to the office is the Valhalla Resort. And then a couple of weeks later, Charlie Kirk gets assassinated or neutralized. Excuse me, YouTube. He gets neutralized. And then Kash Patel says, see you in Valhalla. Now, I'm not saying this is what happened, but just imagine this happened. Let's say there was a planning session at the Valhalla Resort in New Zealand while Kash was there. And Kash had to give a signal that, hey, we've got it under control. Nobody's going to get caught with anything. He could say on national television, international television, see you in Valhalla. That will be the signal. I'll mention the word Valhalla. I don't know. I mean, of all the ways these people have to communicate, why would he choose that way? But, okay. For the volume fixing fund, I listen a lot in my work, man, and can't turn it up any louder. That is a very, very, very generous donation. So generous, in fact, that I am going to try to turn it up just a snitch for you here. How about that? Tell me if that clicks. That should have gotten a little louder. If it starts clicking, someone let me know in the comments, and I will pull it back down a little bit. But yeah, there's no other explanation to me why he said Valhalla. And the fact that it was right there next to where he was in New Zealand, right before he gave the, I don't know, man. Look into it. But while you're looking into it, like the video, like this podcast, go down to YouTube, click the like button. You can notify, subscribe, all that good stuff. So I tried to turn it up a little bit, Langhorn, and I'm not seeing anybody complain in the comments that it's clicking. So if it starts clicking, I'll turn it back down. Oh my goodness. What is that? Mr. Bruce Lee, 98, $200? Fellow Gen Xer here, quickly became one of my favorite podcasts ever. Keep up the great work, brother. Brother, thank you. That'll make me find a permanent volume solution for our friend Langhorn. Thank you, Mr. Bruce Lee, 98. I'm a little nervous, though, when you have the punching emoji and Bruce Lee in your title at the same time. That makes me a little nervous. But thank you. That's very, very generous. Korak. 999, we might disagree if you think it's appropriate for a president to call a senator to active duty just to make him eligible for court-martial, military trial, and punishment. By the way, I am a Trump voter. Yeah, we might disagree. Here's the problem. Here's why we disagree. When you sign up for the military, you understand that you can be recalled to active duty if you're taking the retirement. That's kind of a condition of the retirement, that you can be recalled to active duty. Likewise, a condition of the retirement is you don't do anything. There's like a list of things they say don't do. You can't do them. And if you do them, you can be recalled to active duty and face a court martial. Would I do that as president? Probably not. Probably not. But at least I understand the process he's using. And I think he's irritated with people, constantly bucking him and telling people not to follow his military orders. He's the commander in chief. He's got to run a tidy military. When are you going to post the big story you've been working on? Man. Let me give you an update on that. So here's here's kind of my working theory on Bitcoin. I don't know that it started out as an American operation. And when I shared that reality with, it became an American government operation, by the way. I don't think I'm telling anyone, people, things they don't know. But when I told a couple people my thought on revealing where I believe it was taken from, I was told that might not be ideal. So I'm going to do the show. I'm going to show you what I have in America. I might not show you what I have outside of America, but I've shown you all how to do these searches. And when you see the terms that I'm searching, you might be able to look at other places. I will spoil the surprise. It's not Israel. I know everyone thinks that it's some kind of Israeli operation, but it's not. That's not my conclusion. But I do believe it is the nascent Bitcoin form was not originated here in these United States. I may have given too much away. Thanks for the A-Bucks, Adrian. France only had to apologize and pay damages for murdering a person when blowing up the Rainbow Warrior in New Zealand. The agents were jailed but released early. I'm not familiar with that story. I hope that sounds terrifying. Sounds terrifying. Thanks for your donation. Hello, Baron. Righteous anger is Christ-like anger. Old lady in Mexico, semi-old, really. And I'm very angry, too. Thank you for standing up for Kangaroos. I am angry. Like, I'm heated. I didn't have my sense of humor for the monologue today because, to me, it was deadly serious. Like, we have got to stop neutralizations on American soil against American citizens. We have to stop it. Like, this, it's not an option to allow things to happen. Period. End of call. End of story. Macron went to the White House and asked Trump to call Candace. Macron went to the White House and asked Trump to call Candace. Are you making fun of me for repeating myself? Is that what's going on here? You know I repeat myself a lot, so you repeat yourself in the comments to make fun of me for repeating myself? You didn't get that past me, young lady. My mother's one of 11 kids, and they didn't even own a farm. I have dozens of cousins, can't go anywhere without running in family, but it is a blessing. Pass on the love, Kim Pruitt. Do the same. Do the same. Grow. Be fruitful and multiply. Whew. Spread like seeds. Like you're broadcasting seeds. Just throw them out there. Spread. Does anyone else feel foreign countries are TPing USA? I don't know what that means. So I don't know if I feel that way or not, Delman. TPing like toilet papering? The United States? Or is that a play on the TP USA? It seems like foreign countries... Go ask Grok to give you a list of every known donor to TP USA and see if you notice a pattern. I noticed a pattern. I noticed a big pattern. Did you do the Google search trends for Thomas Crooks also? I did. That's what started this whole series. A friend of mine that I shared my Thomas Crooks results with last year suggested I do the same for Charlie Kirk, and now there's 7,000 of you watching me read comments. That's how that happened. The The findings you showed were so interesting on Charlie's case. I will say that you can't repeat the Thomas Crook stuff. They've all been scrubbed. You can't repeat it. But it was fun while it lasted. People say it's a rumor. I'm trying to find it again. I got you, mail lady. I know you're more than $5. When is the Bitcoin story coming out? Have you researched trends back for Foreign Legion story? This is getting wild. Agree, must team up. Yeah, I don't know when. I'll do the Bitcoin story. I just keep getting to that point where I've got to share more. Got to share more. Watching live from Japan. When Benny Johnson received death threats, DOJ made a big deal about it. Why nothing with Candace? Good question. Thank you for the yen. Although I think the yen is deteriorating daily. I hope those get converted soon. I love you, brother, but please don't use KKK hoodie as an example of those they made look crazy. Oh, you talking about Ye? I mean, he's got freedom of speech too. I wouldn't wear it. I don't recommend it. But he can do what he wants. I know it was mentioned last stream, but James Corbett is an excellent resource for all truth topics. He always includes sources hyperlinked in the transcript of his work. Corbett Report. Thank you. I will duly noted, Astra Luna. You got that picture of Jesus they tried to correct. That was awesome. Multiple name changes didn't stop Bibi Netanyahu or Malataski or Natan or John Sullivan from becoming POTUS. Agreed. But that doesn't mean I have to like it. That doesn't mean I have to like it. I'm allowed to not like it. Paradigm shift. Can podcasters, independent press, all collaborating, Baron, Candace, Ian be the way we take a country back? I hope so. But it doesn't work without you guys speaking up. Speak up, speak up, speak up. Like the podcast. Subscribe to the podcast. Share the podcast. Click notifications so you join the podcast. Not just me, Candace, Ian, anyone else you like to watch. You just mentioned them, so I'm mentioning them. But seriously, support your independent media. Donate. Support your independent media. It allows us to be able to do this. It allows us to dedicate time, take time away from family, take time away from friends, take time away from hobbies in order to produce this content so that we can all get together and be educated enough to speak up and maybe save the republic. Thank you. I second Ryan's suggestion. Healthy debate is what is needed in church. Steve Gregg is a great voice on the subject of anti-dispensationalism and anti-Zionism. I've never heard of him, but you've now advertised him. And for $10, I appreciate it. Candace Ludlow. Candace would be crazy to make a claim that the American government was not true. That was not true. Couldn't she get in trouble from said government? Dude, I love your content. Serious, great explanation. So 18 USC 1001, I believe, is the code citation for lying to the federal government. 18 USC 1001. Let's see if that's right. Yep. It states, and I'll pull it up so you can see it. This is the penalty for lying to the federal government. You are not allowed to lie to the federal government. You may not willingly falsify, conceal, or cover up material facts, make any materially false misrepresentation. Okay, so she could be fined and imprisoned for lying to the federal government. So yes, you're right. See, your good instinct and my steel trap of a legal mind were able to combine. That's why this show works. We were able to combine to edify. Be edified, people. Thank you for the donation, and thank you for the opportunity to shine. Baron, the UN plan is real. I emailed you the link. Things were supposed to wrap up with 60 million in the U.S. alone by 2030. Trump closing the border screwed that. 2029 will be a doo-doo show. I was unaware of this. I will read what you wrote because that sounds like it needs to be covered. Edge, $9.99. Try again. First message was blank, deleted. Team Candace, speak up. Thanks, Baron. Speak up. Speak for us. See if this one makes message. It made it. It made it. Speak up, people. Speak up. Speak up, speak up, speak up. Thanks for all your time and hard work. Thank you for your donation, Alpaca Renee. Here's how much I enjoy your lives. My Starlink went out 3 weeks ago. So I've been driving into town to get cell service to watch you sitting in my car with a heater on. Ma'am, probably be cheaper to get your Starlink back. Where do you live that you don't have internet access? You people scare me. Thank you, Alpaca Renee. Thank you. That's very, very generous considering the circumstances. Officer Tatum just posted on X. He's seen the evidence, Candace threat, and says the French government needs consequences. I have heard that, and I have seen where people are referencing that. I will read the Officer Tatum piece. I think it's compelling because he has been anti-Candace on a lot of this stuff. Simply Sarah, thank you for the $5 donation. Pro 31 Designs, not interested nor impressed in Benny Johnson, just saying how we should see this level of response. Press conference with Pam Bondi in regard to Candace. Thank you for your work. Save Candace. Speak up. Thank you for your donation. I'm almost to the end here. I just got kicked out of your string, 7:58 Eastern. Well, it's almost over anyway, ma'am. Thank you, mail lady. This is your second, so I'm going to give it to you. The Red Enemy is Foreign and Domestic by Matthew Bracken. I can't promise I'll do that, but other people might take you up on it. And some more A-Box Gravity and Grace. So LSE Palace is located off the Boulevard des Champs-Élysées, LSE, literally Elysian Fields, named for Greco-Roman version of Valhalla, where the victorious warriors go after death. For real? Literally the Elysian Fields, named for the Greco-Roman version of Valhalla. Now, I thought the Valhalla was a Norse pagan god. Elysian Fields, Valhalla. Is that true? They're both mythological afterlives, but they belong to different cultures. The Elysian Fields are from the Greek mythology for heroes and the virtuous, while Valhalla is from the Norse mythology for fallen warriors. The primary distinction is that Elysium is a paradise of peace and eternal happiness for the deserving, whereas Valhalla is a feasting and fighting hall for warriors preparing for Ragnarok. I'm going to call that one close but no cigar. But thank you for the donation and all your A-bucks. Crypto is as in having secret religious practices or secret allegiance to political creed like communism. I think they were talking about crypto like cash, but I could be wrong. All right, guys. Thank you for joining me. This has been a wonderful day. This was, in case I don't go tomorrow, find Ian Carroll, watch his show. The next time he goes live, he's going to blow your mind. That's all I can say. All I could say. No pressure, Ian. No pressure. It's like when the coach says, okay, after you make these 2 free throws, here's how we're going to play defense. What if I miss one? No, I don't. I got full faith and confidence in him, and he's entertaining as always. So even if I had no idea, I would still recommend it. But I think he's on to something big. I think he's on to something big. Guys, thank you. It's been fun. I will see you back maybe tomorrow. If not, I will see you Sunday if I don't do an earlier show. The holiday week's kind of weird. I don't know how that's going to go, but I'll give you plenty of notice. You guys notice I open up the live stream, the live chat, like hours before I go, usually at least 4 or 5 hours, sometimes 8 or 10 hours. I like to see you guys chatting in there. It's fun to me, and I get to highlight some comments and pull them up and think about them, and sometimes you give me ideas to add to the show. So I'm always thankful for your input. I do read your emails, realbaronpodcast@gmail.com, realbaronpodcast@gmail.com. And don't forget to subscribe, like, click notifications. Again, the best thing you can do to support this program, subscribe, like the show, click notifications, share with your friends. Donations are awfully appreciated. I don't mean to downplay those at all. Super, super appreciated, and make it so that I can justify to my family why I do this. But thank you. And I will see you again very soon.